And if you come to America to rob Americans, we're throwing you in jail and we're sending you back to the place from where you came. We're throwing you right in jail. And they know it, too. And one of the reasons they're doing these fake riots, I mean, they're just terrible. I mean, you see it's so fake. Shame, shame, shame. You see the woman, that's all practice. They go practice. They go to areas, they take hotel rooms, and they all practice together.
Welcome to the channel. What you're about to witness will shatter every assumption you've held about the infrastructure supposedly protecting American children. 2:43 a.m. Early November. Minneapolis. A formation of unmarked federal SUVs cuts through ice-coated streets toward a destination that's been operating openly for 7 years. Packed inside those vehicles, 41 FBI specialists, 15 ICE tactical operators, and digital forensics teams representing 4 federal departments. But what awaited them inside? And you need to understand this clearly because the details become nightmarish quickly. Before we continue, I want to ask you directly, have you ever considered where billions in taxpayer funding actually goes? Leave a comment right now and tell me, because what unfolded in Minneapolis demonstrates it's more sinister than anyone imagined possible. Let's get into it. The thermometer registered 6 degrees Fahrenheit, -14 Celsius. The kind of freeze that silences everything. The avenues through the Cedar Riverside neighborhood were deserted aside from vapor trails climbing from warming engines. The objective? A licensed childcare operation named Future Minds Development Academy. Administrator, Sarah Ibrahim Hassan, 49, an influential Somali civic leader who controlled 11 childcare establishments throughout the metropolitan region. Government documentation indicated her operations accommodated 1,520 children on a daily basis. Federal assistance payments? They processed automatically. Throughout 7 years, transfers to her organization reached $4.7 billion. But when operatives breached the entrance at 2:58 a.m., the structure revealed something entirely different. Dead silence. Absolute stillness. No infant sounds. No personnel. No guardians. The atmosphere within felt stagnant, like a space hermetically sealed for half a year. Educational materials occupied the storage units in pristine formations, each item blanketed in weeks of accumulated dust. Sleeping cribs remained positioned throughout the nursery section. Cushions still sealed in manufacturer wrapping. Mounted to the entrance wall, daily tracking forms. Every entry completed. Every authorization immaculate. Every minor documented on official records. Yet the environment had never experienced human presence. Real quick, for those of you watching this moment, does this strike you as simple oversight or something methodically engineered? Drop your perspective in the comments. This individual location had accumulated $73 million across 16 months. 0 children had experienced an authentic day within these walls. Inside the administrator's private quarters, operatives uncovered the master plan. A reinforced storage vault held registration documentation for 1,080 children. The senior investigator processed the initial dozen identities through national verification systems. Completely manufactured. Hijacked Social Security credentials. Counterfeit vital records produced on industrial printing infrastructure. An entire phantom generation, manifesting exclusively within governmental payment databases. Then they located the vault. Military specification. Anchored through reinforced concrete. When the breach specialist compromised it, personnel moved backward instinctively. Contents: $61 million in currency. Heat sealed inside commercial-grade polymer packaging. And positioned above, 11 parcels marked with the dual Viper insignia of the Gulf Cartel. In that precise instant, every operative in that space realized this transcended benefit fraud. This represented cartel financial operations funded exclusively through American tax revenue. And the situation deteriorates further. If you believe stealing resources meant for vulnerable children warrants maximum prosecution, smash that like button immediately and drop justice in the comments. Your interaction amplifies this message to broader audiences. By 8:15 a.m., financial analysts had penetrated the encrypted digital infrastructure confiscated from Hassan's property. What surfaced defied fundamental logic. The capital wasn't being allocated toward nutrition, operational costs, or personnel compensation. It flowed through architecture so refined it appeared authentic to automated regulatory systems. Here's the operational framework. Capital entered via 74 phantom corporations. Each entity existed purely in documentation. Zero workforce, zero physical locations, zero taxation records. Designations like Twin Cities Hauling Services, Northland Freight Coordinators, Metro Transport Alliance. Recognize the consistency? Transportation Enterprises. Commercial hauling operations. This introduces the Somali truck empire. Investigators identified that Hassan's organization had acquired 103 commercial 18-wheelers throughout 5 years. These vehicles weren't utilized for educational supply distribution. They functioned as mobile financial cleansing mechanisms. Every vehicle registered beneath separate corporate structures. Every corporation received advisory service payments from the child care organization, transfers matching federal subsidy deposits within 36 hours. The fleet operated continuously. Minneapolis to El Paso, Texas. El Paso to San Diego, California. San Diego returning to Minneapolis. Transportation patterns define commercial rationale, unless you comprehended their actual cargo. Let me pose this to you. How does a childcare administrator finance 103 semi-trucks? Share your analysis below. I genuinely want to understand your perspective right now. By 10:45 a.m., operatives had mapped the command hierarchy. Hassan operated within a larger structure. The organization encompassed her brother, Abdirahman Omar Jama, former state commercial vehicle compliance officer, 26 certified commercial drivers, all Somali community members, all maintaining unblemished driving histories, 9 state assistance coordinators who validated every submission without physical verification, plus 1 executive administrator within the Minnesota Human Services Department who expedited 510 childcare authorizations across 42 months. The administrator's identity remained sealed in federal documentation, but financial evidence showed $4.6 million channeled to international banking institutions under his authorization. This exceeded corruption. This constituted infrastructure development. The Somali truck empire had transformed Minnesota's assistance framework into an intercontinental capital conduit, and Gulf cartel operations controlled the receiving end. From autumn 2017 through November, the organization processed $11.4 billion through this mechanism. Under 3% funded authentic childcare operations. The remainder? Transferred internationally in amounts precisely beneath federal disclosure requirements. Horn of Africa, Emirates, Ghost financial institutions in Guadalajara, Mexico. Investigators discovered electronic transfer documentation showing $562 million relocated within a single 7-day period, without activating one compliance notification. How does that occur? Because the infrastructure prioritized velocity over validation. I need to stop here and ask, do you suspect this operates in your jurisdiction? Currently? Genuinely? Leave a comment. Let's discuss this reality. By 11:22 p.m., federal attorneys sanctioned a synchronized enforcement action. This had evolved beyond auditing. This became neutralization. At precisely 12:30 a.m., over 380 operatives deployed throughout Minneapolis, St. Paul, and surrounding municipalities. All 11 childcare locations were penetrated concurrently. 15 logistics distribution centers, 22 residential compounds, and the Truck Empire Command Center, a 47,000 square foot facility outside Prior Lake. At 12:41 a.m., breach teams compromised the facility's perimeter barrier. What they encountered inside redefined the complete investigation. The complex wasn't warehousing educational materials. It operated as cartel operational headquarters. 103 semi-trucks organized in systematic configurations. But these vehicles had undergone modification. Concealed storage welded within fuel containment systems. Fabricated flooring throughout cargo sections. Specialized electromagnetic shielding defeating. Scanning technology. Inside one vehicle exclusively, operatives recovered 410 kilograms of methamphetamine vacuum preserved within childcare supply containers marked learning materials fragile. Contents. Within another, 2,200 kilograms of cocaine concealed beneath industrial pallets of sanitation supplies. Inside a third, $18 million currency compression wrapped within carved-out juvenile furnishings. The comprehensive seizure from the compound. 5.1 tons of methamphetamine, 13.4 tons of cocaine, 1,040,000 fentanyl tablets, and $84 million in currency. Market valuation? $2.7 billion. But the most horrifying revelation existed in the service department. Operatives located 29 individuals secured inside a hidden compartment behind fabricated infrastructure. Severely undernourished, physically depleted, psychologically traumatized. 12 were American nationals documented missing between 8 and 17 months previously. The remaining individuals, trafficking victims from Somalia, Kenya, and Guatemala, had been coerced into involuntary servitude. Their assignment? Vehicle modification, narcotic preparation, currency transportation. Their biometric identifiers had been chemically obliterated to eliminate verification capabilities. This transcended criminal enterprise. This represented contemporary enslavement masked as Somali commercial operations, and it received funding from resources stolen from American miners. If this generates outrage within you, I require immediate action. Drop, expose, in the comments and distribute this content. The platform algorithm must recognize public concern regarding this matter. As sunrise emerged across Minneapolis, federal coordination sessions commenced within a fortified Justice Department location. The verified financial deficit, $11.4 billion. But the humanitarian damage? Beyond calculation. Investigators projected that approximately 107,000 economically disadvantaged children throughout Minnesota forfeited access to legitimate childcare because resources were extracted into this criminal apparatus. Authentic childcare operators, legitimate businesses, terminated operations. They couldn't sustain competition against establishments maintaining zero labor costs, zero nutritional expenses, zero operational overhead. Throughout North Minneapolis, authorized childcare availability declined by 37% across 3 years. Working mothers forfeited employment because childcare evaporated. Grandparents assuming guardianship roles were relegated to waiting registries extending 22 months. The infrastructure didn't collapse because it malfunctioned. It collapsed because it operated too efficiently. Velocity displaced validation. Automation displaced examination. Compassion transformed into vulnerability. From 2017 through November, Minnesota's Human Services Department validated 13,200 childcare submissions. Only 280 underwent physical site verification. Rationale? Political demands to accelerate fund distribution. Apprehension regarding discrimination allegations. Administrative exhaustion. Warning indicators saturated the system. Replicated physical addresses throughout separate establishments, identical enrollment documentation submitted by unrelated administrators' operations. Reporting 100% daily attendance continuously for 21 consecutive months, one facility claimed accommodating 314 infants, with 3 staff members 0. Investigations triggered mandatory escalation. The Somali truck empire didn't compromise the infrastructure. It didn't purchase every administrator. It simply comprehended the mechanism superior to those operating it. Consistency was interpreted as authenticity. Scale was interpreted as achievement. And while administrative personnel processed documentation, children experienced hunger and cartels constructed permanent infrastructure. Let me ask something, and I genuinely need your input on this. Do you maintain confidence in your state's assistance infrastructure? Have you observed inconsistencies that concern you? Comment below. Let's construct a community demanding accountability. The enforcement actions didn't merely terminate one organization. They revealed an operational template. Federal intelligence warned that comparable operations potentially function across at least 13 additional states, utilizing identical structures. Identical phantom corporations, identical transportation networks. If merely 6% of national childcare appropriations were compromised at this magnitude, annual deficits would surpass $54 billion. That's not theoretical speculation. That's mathematical modeling derived from Minneapolis discoveries. Within 84 hours following the enforcement actions, consequences cascaded throughout the Twin Cities region. Approximately 26,000 households received immediate termination documentation. Emergency childcare arrangements vanished instantaneously. Regional workforce offices documented a 23% surge in emergency absence petitions, predominantly single-parent households and working grandparents. Community nutrition centers experienced unprecedented demand levels. Emergency housing facilities prepared for capacity overflow they couldn't accommodate. Minneapolis didn't exclusively forfeit capital. It forfeited fundamental stability. And the most disturbing realization? The fraud didn't destabilize the infrastructure. It coexisted seamlessly for 7 years, undetected, unreported, unchallenged. The documentation appeared flawless. The authorizations never ceased. Minneapolis didn't experience system failure. It experienced system exploitation, undetected, unreported, unquestioned. The manufacturing facilities are now inoperative. The Somali truck empire is dismantled. Financial accounts are immobilized. 71 individuals confront federal prosecution. But here's the question that prevents my rest. How many additional vacant structures are accumulating millions currently? How many phantom children populate state databases throughout America? How many exemplary establishments have never undergone actual inspection? This investigation compels us to acknowledge an uncomfortable reality. Accountability isn't discretionary. It represents our exclusive protection. When infrastructures prioritize velocity over verification, exploitation isn't theoretical, it's guaranteed. When organizations penalize investigation more severely than theft, silence becomes the supreme commodity. The devastation here transcends monetary measurement. It's quantified through shuttered educational facilities, fractured households, and children who forfeited irreplaceable developmental time. So here's my requirement from you. If you believe every assistance program nationwide requires comprehensive independent auditing, comment, accountability, immediately. If you believe this narrative requires expanded reach, activate that share function right now. And if you're still engaged, if you've remained because you genuinely care about what's happening to our nation, subscribe to this channel. We're constructing a community refusing to remain passive. Truth doesn't achieve viral status accidentally. It achieves viral status because individuals like you determine it matters. I'll reconnect with you in the following upload. Remain vigilant, remain educated, and never cease demanding answers.